Hello? Oh, God, that's louder than I thought it was going to be. Good morning, Lisbon. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to be giving a presentation today on how to fail properly, which I think is something that not as many people talk about as potentially should do. So it's a departure from the presentation I was going to do, but I'll get to that in a minute. So I was going to do a very, very different talk today, and it's what actually led to me giving a presentation about failure. I had a company that I worked on for about 3 years, and I got the sponsorship for NFC about 9 months ago, and that company was Stay365. Stay365 was a Web3 travel company. So we were essentially building Airbnb, but an on-chain version. We were targeting digital nomads, and we launched an NFT collection called Genesis Travel Pass. We sold out that collection. It was a travel pass. It cost 0.25 ETH. You bought it, and it basically gave you discounted hotels, discounted flights, transfers, everything like that. I worked on the project for about 3 years or so. You know, we went from zero, bootstrapped it all the way up to 10 employees. But unfortunately, towards the end, we have some difficulties, which meant about a month ago, it had to shut down. And so that was my first experience of a real crushing failure. And it's why I decided to pivot this talk today after the company shut down to essentially talk about how to fail. Because as I said, people don't talk about failure enough. And I think there is a way to fail right and a way to fail wrong and a way that you can use it to become a strength instead of a weakness. So when this company shut down, it essentially felt like walking off of a cliff. The stomach drops, you have no idea how to prepare for this, something that you were working 80-hour weeks on every week for 3 years, and suddenly it's not there anymore. Definitely feels like a loss, but there's a way to recover from that and to move onwards. So just to prove I'm qualified to talk about failures, I want to introduce a few more of them. This was me a day before I dropped out of university. When I was 19, I dropped out to work on Stay365, and although it's a good thing dropping out to work on a company, for everybody in my life, my friends, my family, they definitely viewed this as a failure as well. And that is another photo of me the day I got fired from my first proper corporate job after about 2 weeks on the job. And I kind of figured out then that, okay, maybe working in a corporate job is probably not for me, and so I should probably try and set up a company. I think that would be something more fitting. So most of us, I think, are at least in some capacity scared of failure. Whether it's starting a company and that failing, or whether it's getting rejected from a job, getting ghosted on Tinder. Failure or fear of failure is kind of in our DNA. We've evolved to be scared of failure from when we were like cavemen and cavewomen, basically. The people who were most scared of failing on a hunt or the most scared of going out and venturing out into the woods at night would be the ones that survive. So it's natural to be scared of failure. It's embedded in us. But moving on from that, you can unlock an entirely new side of yourself and unlock new strengths that you didn't know you had. And again, nobody really talks about failure. I think of all of the talks that I saw at NFC, not many of them tend to talk about failure. And in Web3 particularly, I think it's very important to talk about failure. For the past 2 years or so, we've been in a bear run, not a bull run. There was a time when if you started a project, you launched it, you were pretty much guaranteed to have some level of success. But that time isn't really here anymore. And so understanding failure and being prepared for it, I think, is a crucial part of working in this space. So again, failure is a strength. There's no way that you can go through your life without failing thousands of times. From not getting that car, not getting that house, getting rejected from jobs, losing clients, not getting the clients in the first place. Well, you're going to be faced with setbacks and rejections and failures every single day of your life for the next 50 years. So getting comfortable with it is going to be critical. And the more comfortable you are with failure, the better you're probably going to end up doing as well. Most of us expect, or at least some of us expect, life to kind of follow this linear curve from the start to the finish. And there's going to be some setbacks, you might have a few curves along the way, but really it's probably going to look a lot more like this. There is going to be so many challenges, so many obstacles that face you on the way. You're going to start off and you're going to loop back on yourself and you're going to go through this chaotic ride, encountering many different failures, many different setbacks, and being prepared for this chaos and embracing the chaos is how you're really going to sort of do the best and make the most out of this chaotic journey that you're going to go through. So, how to fail with grace? I think the first part of this is a bit of self-love and compassion. Understanding that when you fail, it's just a part of that journey. and there's going to be many more to come. You've probably already been through many, many more. So when you fail, just say, that's fine. That's part of life. It makes me a stronger person. Having compassion, having self-love, when things don't go well, when shit does hit the fan, is critical. It doesn't reflect on you as a person. It just means that, okay, maybe things didn't go right this time, but they will. Which leads me to the next point, dare to begin. When you fail, again, this is going to happen many times. I keep saying it, I probably sound like a broken record right now, but you have to get ready. You have to get back up again, get started on that next chapter, whether it's the next job you're applying for, whether it's the next project that you're working on. If you have a bad launch that just flops, then get up, it's a new day, and carry on. And again, it's like a mountain that you're going to be climbing up for the rest of your life. So the quicker that you can get used to it early on, the quicker you're going to be able to get to your goals and get to where you need to be going. So yeah, failure is a little bit painful. It is a little bit scary, but it gives you a story. And I think that going through this pain, encountering a ton of different obstacles, a ton of different lessons, is going to be the way that you craft your own personal story. And it kind of gives a little bit of meaning to things. It would be very boring if the first time that you did something, it just went perfectly. If Stay 365 had gone well and we hadn't had to shut down, it would have been great, but it also would have made for a very boring story to tell. Things aren't necessarily meant to go right the first time. They might not even be meant to go right the third time or the seventh time. It's the person that keeps going despite everything that's happening, despite all of the failures you encounter. That's the person that's going to be the most successful. That's the person that's going to have the most interesting story to tell. That's the person who's going to still be there in 20 years. Consistency, it compounds. If you're posting on LinkedIn or you're posting on Twitter for a week and it kind of goes a bit iffy and you never post again, you're never going to see what could have been. But if you continue to post despite getting no traction and do that every day for a year, or do that every day for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, you're going to see that compound over time. It's the magic of investing as well. It's like if you put $100 into a savings account and kind of just let it go for 20 years, you're going to come back and there's going to be maybe 10,000 or 20,000. You have to let things compound over time. And that's not just for numbers and investing, it's in life too. If you work on things every day without fear of failure, understanding and expecting that you're going to fail along the way, you're going to be the person who's going to succeed and hit those compounding gains in the future. And again, I think that's part of the fun. Things going wrong might not sound like fun, and you might have to kind of learn to be a little bit of a sadist along the way and enjoy the pain. It's like when you go to the gym or you go for a long run. You get that burning feeling in your legs, or you get that burning in your arms. To begin with, the first time you work out, it's very uncomfortable. You're going to be aching, you're going to be sore for the next week. Your body's not going to know what the hell just went on, what happened to it. But as you keep going, that burning kind of starts to dampen down, it becomes a little bit more bearable. And over time, at least for me, you actually start to enjoy that burn. Not because it's a nice feeling in itself, but because of what it represents. It represents the fact that you worked fucking hard. You actually did something, you put yourself through something that most people won't do. And yeah, it does hurt a little bit, but that's like a good kind of hurt. It's a mark that you've been there, you've done that, it's a badge of honor. Same way I view failure. It's a badge of honor. Like, yeah, the company failed, but I wear that with pride. Because even if it failed, that still meant that I did it, that I went through it, and I learned a shit ton along the way. So, next steps. Stay 365 is over, but I'm not leaving Web3. I've made too many friends, made too many connections in this space, learned too much, and I absolutely love it, so I'm not going anywhere. My new company that I set up about 2 weeks ago is called Anima, and it's a company that I'm here with today. If you want to help me craft your story or figure out how to create a brand that actually resonates with people rather than just talking about technical features and the speed of latency on the chain. If you want to create a brand story that's compelling, engaging, emotional, and will actually get people to give a shit about what you say and care about your brand, then come find me. I'm in the shopping district over in the corner next to the racing game. Thank you very much.